Begin then. So, big welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's good to see some people joining us from all over the world, I think. So, different time zones are in. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. Big thank you for joining us. We've got a great webinar lined up for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the University of Manchester's online LLM in international commercial and technology law. We're going to get a bit of a perspective from some of our students on the course and also on some of the trends in their industries and in their workplaces about how they've seen technology and the law develop in recent years. So I'll just give a quick run through of how the webinar will go through today. So I'll introduce a little bit about the course that we offer here at the University of Manchester, and then we'll do a quick Q&A with our panelists today. And then we'll open it up to questions from the audience. So make sure you get your questions in the Q&A function and we will answer those for you there. And I'll also provide some contact details about how you can get in touch with us to learn more about our online LLM in international commercial and technology law. So I'm joined today by Hilda Wehbi, who is a senior lawyer and also a current student on our LLM in international commercial and technology law. I'm also joined by Mark Farrell, who is a senior case officer and also a student on our programme. And also we have Dr. Joseph Lee, who is a reader in corporate law and corporate and financial law at the University of Manchester and is our course director for the online LLM in international commercial and technology law. So we'll just do a quick introduction from our panelists. So if we start with Hilda, if you'd like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your line of work.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's Hilda. I'm an Australian lawyer based in Dubai. I have a corporate commercial background. I specialised in financial services and now I'm working mainly in technology. And I work here in Dubai in the public sector.
Great. Thank you so much, Hilda. And
Thanks.
Mark, would you like to go next?
Hello, yes, I'm Mark. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. So I work in data protection regulation in the public sector in the UK. Worked in various areas, including enforcement. Currently working in international transfers, so focusing mostly on multinationals and how they share personal data amongst themselves.
Great stuff. Thanks, Mark. And Joseph.
Hi, I'm Joseph Lee. I'm reading corporate and commercial financial law at the University of Manchester. I'm also the program directors of this program, LLM in International Commercial and Technology Law.
Excellent. Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, so I'll give a quick overview of the course that we offer before we go into the Q&A. So we offer an online LLM in international commercial and technology law. It's a fully online master's degree, so you can study from wherever you are in the world. It's a 2-year program, so you'll study part-time over those 2 years, and we recommend around 15 to 20 hours of work per week as you progress through your studies. The next enrollment we have is in September this year. So if you are interested, we are open for applications, so feel free to get your applications in as soon as possible. We do offer an early application discount of 10%. So if you apply before the 19th of May, which is coming up in about 10 days or so, you can qualify for a 10% reduction in your fees. There are also some scholarships and bursaries available, so do get in touch if you have any more questions or need any more information about that. We also offer a various range of fee payment structures to help sort of spread the cost and things, and you can definitely get in touch with me. You'll see my email address at the bottom of the slide there, studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. And you can get in touch with me and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about the course or the application process. Feel free to get in touch. So the next step of our webinar will be a quick Q&A about the law, about technology, changes in the relevant industries, and also a little bit about how it's relevant to this LLM course. So I'll get us started with our first question today, and we'll talk a little bit about the key technology changes that you have all observed in your sectors. So if one of our panelists would like to start us off and maybe introduce some of the things that you've observed in your line of work, that'd be great.
I'm happy to start. So there's a few different things. I think digital transformation has just been something that's been quite heavily adopted where I am, and so that means with that has come lots of benefits for the practice of law. So lawyers being able to work remotely, for example, that's a key benefit. But we're also seeing law firms, finally, very traditional law firms, building up, I guess, more of an appetite to reconsider the traditional models. And with that comes obviously the use of adopting AI tools. So we're seeing a lot of law firms developing bespoke AI tools on top of ChatGPT. So we've seen, Harvey is one that's used by Allen & Overy. I think CoCounsel is being used by or developed by DLA. So we're seeing a move towards that, towards developing and I'd say experimenting with AI tools. Microsoft as well as developed a Copilot. So there seems to be a great movement towards AI products and tools. And I think key to that is obviously education. So these tools are all great. There's lots of opportunities that they present, but at the same time, there are challenges. And I think for us as an industry and as a profession, we need to be aware of what those challenges are as well as what the opportunities are. And that ties into why we're here doing this course, because we want to be aware of the opportunities and the challenges and kind of thinking about how to move forward with these. And interestingly, also, we're seeing that judiciaries around the globe, so we've seen cases in the US and we've also seen the judiciary in the UK also show an appetite towards acceptance of the use of AI tools such as ChatGPT. So that's a really progressive mood, I think, for movement forward for our industry and our sector.
Great, thank you for that, Hilda. Mark, is there anything else to add on to that?
Yeah, of course I can chime in. Obviously, working in data protection regulation, the biggest sort of data protection and privacy concerns are often related to those who have the most personal data. On many occasions, that is the big tech companies that kind of dominate, the modern landscape of our society. And I think particularly looking at it from an enforcement point of view, obviously, we can see the likes of TikTok have, received fines from data protection authorities over the last couple of years, connected to, the processing of children's personal data. So I think, this is really an instance whereby, we have evolving technologies, the landscape is constantly changing, and I think with that, each development seems to throw up its own set of privacy issues that perhaps you wouldn't have even thought about before the new platform or technology kind of entered the landscape. So I think definitely the social media and tech companies are obviously an area of focus in data protection regulation. And I think to follow up on kind of what Hilda was saying there, I think in terms of ChatGPT as well, that's another good example of where a new technology has thrown up various legal issues, and obviously one area is data protection and privacy. The Italian Data Protection Authority actually temporarily banned ChatGPT last year, I believe, related to privacy data protection issues. So I think those are probably two of the main trends observable from a data protection point of view. And I think it's a really good area of law that kind of epitomizes this intersection between obviously technological development and then the effect that's having on our law. Of course, we've had AI legislation which is forthcoming and has been introduced in some areas as well. So I find it a fascinating area.
Absolutely, great, thank you, Mark. So to address these trends, these issues from a legal professional's perspective, what sort of skills do you think you need?
I'm happy to answer that. I think there's a range of skills, but I think before skills, I'd say it's also attitude is really important. I think as lawyers, we need to be flexible and adaptable because there's a change to how we work, and the opportunities are boundless. We're seeing already a movement from the traditional lawyer and the traditional kind of career path. We're seeing a lot of lawyers go into things like legal operations. We're seeing lawyers developing software tools for, for the legal industry, so legal tech, or even law tech. So we're seeing a lot of movements, and I think they open up opportunities that hadn't been envisaged before. And with that comes things that, certain skills like critical thinking and problem solving and strategy and empathy, and they're things that can't be replaced by any emerging technology. They're things that we as lawyers we already have those skill sets, but I think we need to work harder on kind of building them up. And I think as long as, we continue to learn and adapt to the changes around us, I think we'll succeed in doing that.
Yes, I'd say I completely agree with you there, Hilda. I think a lot of it does come down to attitude and also awareness, really. Of course, technology, it evolves at such a rapid pace. And in many instances, as we've kind of studied on this course, it kind of threatens to completely undermine some of the existing frameworks. For example, in corporate law, with directors' duties, we're seeing the use of AI technology within the boardroom, to facilitate corporate decision making. And of course, maybe thinking a bit far ahead here, but perhaps it's not beyond the realms of possibility that AI may one day actually take the place of a company director. We're seeing some pretty sophisticated technology emerging, and you can only imagine that that's going to continue, to become more sophisticated. So in that sense, where does it leave existing frameworks on directors' duties? Are they applicable in that scenario even? Because of course they were designed for humans. So I think, certainly it comes down to attitude, and perhaps as lawyers, most of us are not experts in technology, and we are obviously simply reacting on, many instances to the latest technological developments. But I think certainly having that awareness and, an attitude and knowing the wide scale impact that technological changes can have on the law, I think is crucial.
James, if I can just supplement, what being said, I think as Mark and Hilda said, I think in terms of attitude, I think curiosity is very important. I think lawyers need to be curious about what's going on around the world. Yes, we are not technologists. It's very difficult for us to understand, the full, supply chain of the AI systems. But then at least we should appreciate the key features in the AI supply chain and to identify, the relevant stakeholders and also the relevant risk involved in the AI system in terms of the design, the development, and also the deployment. And as Hilda said, that lawyers, we are likely to be, at the end of that supply chain, that using AI for our work, and in terms of using work for client work, using work for research, and also in education, we may also use AI system to conduct our research, to collaborate. As we are seeing now, we are using technology, digital technologies to collaborate and to enhance the teaching and learning space. And I think this is the kind of attitude that we lawyers and legal professionals should have, to be more proactive in understanding, appreciating, and learning, and also engage with the technology world, and not to be afraid of talking about technologies or seeing technology coming to the commercial world, the society, and also the legal world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a key word, isn't it? Being proactive in positioning yourself for these changes, these developments, and then being able to then respond to them as ahead of possibly your peers, other sectors, other industries, other companies. You might, if you position yourself ready for that, and that's potentially one reason why you might want to study an LLM in international commercial and technology law. It would give you knowledge of these areas and skills that you might need to respond to those changes. So Hilda and Mark, you're both current students on our course. So why did you first decide to apply for this LLM?
For me, it was more, I have a curiosity of continuous learning and self-development, and technology and emerging technology is something that interests me. And I'm also at the same time, there's that awareness that this is something that's becoming quite prominent and quite, it's happening. We're in the middle of a technological revolution, basically. So we need to keep up to date with what's happening around us. And people have this fear, and particularly there's all this hype about, AI taking over our jobs and the legal industry, some of the jobs being changed. Yeah, sure, there's going to be changes, and that happens. But to be on top of those changes, to kind of set yourself apart, to make sure you're not left behind, you need to make sure you've got the skill set to continue to move forward. And I think for me, studying something like this makes me feel confident that I can kind of navigate through all the changes that are happening in my industry and make sure that I'm still moving forward rather than going backwards.
Yeah, I think my motivation was definitely tied to self-development. Studying an LLM has kind of been quite a long-term ambition of mine. But in previous years, when I kind of reviewed what was available, there was nothing there that really stood out and appealed to me. I think working in data protection with multinationals and obviously coming across the use of kind of emerging technologies, I was particularly drawn to this LLM, obviously because of its focus on technology. I know from my experience studying my bachelor's degree a few years ago, there wasn't that much opportunity to explore those kinds of issues. So I think seeing that there was this master's degree out there that actually focused on those issues, really was, a big appeal to me. And I think also with it being a fully online course really suits me, in terms of being able to balance it alongside working full time. Find it very practical and convenient. It gives you real flexibility that I think if you were on campus, you probably wouldn't have. But I think also, in terms of the University of Manchester, of course, being highly reputable across the globe, of course, it is one of the traditional red brick universities as well. And I found that not that many universities within the same category are offering this kind of masters. So I think, the University of Manchester really, has kind of taken a big step forward in that sense.
Yeah, if I could add as well to that, I agree with Mark. And I think one of the things that was really interesting to me when I was looking around LLMs is that this particular course, the way that it's curated, it touches on the key topics that are relevant to emerging technology. So it touches on, corporate governance, it touches on data and privacy, IP, and fintech. And they're, I think, really fundamental to the changes that are happening. And I haven't seen any other course that kind of has that particular scope. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah, absolutely. So you are, I believe, on unit 2 so far in the course. So you finished unit 1, working your way through the second unit. So how has it gone so far?
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
I would say, sorry, go on.
No, you go, Mark, please.
Yeah, I realised you were taking the lead in all the questions, so what a better step in.
Jump in.
So, I mean, personally, it's gone very well for me. I think I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. It's very different to the bachelor's degree. I think the particular way it's structured is that everything is very digestible. There's lots of nice short videos and interactive tasks that really keep you engaged. But, tied to that, of course, is like an extensive reading list. So you are given the full kind of range of resources and opportunity to explore. And I think, of course, Joseph and the other lecturers involved really provide, high level tutorials as well, where we all kind of come together and discuss these issues. So yeah, personally, really enjoying it. Of course, coming up to the end of the first year now, and yeah, looking ahead really. And I think, as Hilda said, I think what I've really enjoyed is being able to explore some of the key issues kind of related to this intersection between technology and law, and being able to go into detail on those issues. Being able to look at what the academics are saying, and it takes you beyond the stage of just keeping up to date through reading the news. It allows you to delve much deeper. So yeah, over to you, Hilda.
I pretty much have the same view. I think it's really been, the topics are quite on point, as I mentioned earlier, and they're really interesting in how they show the interplay between, I guess, existing laws and emerging technology and how they can kind of come together. So it's really opened up my eyes in many aspects and in many ways. And also it's really interesting from someone who's based in a different, I guess, in the UAE, to kind of see the international perspective and see how what things are emerging in Europe and in the UK, and kind of getting a different perspective in that sense. So that's been really interesting. And the availability of the course director Joseph with respect to kind of clarifying things, the fact that we have these options in terms of attendance. So when you're in a different jurisdiction, in a different time zone, if you can't attend, the fact that they're recorded, the sessions or the tutorials, and you're able to kind of play them back and listen, so you can still participate and still feel like you're part of the course, even if you're unable to attend some of the sessions. And I really appreciate that structure. Yeah.
If I can also supplement what they've been said, what I really enjoyed on this program, and also the course that I have delivered, is it's not just a teaching and learning space, but also a space for knowledge co-creation. And with our participants, with our students, we often have discuss cutting-edge issues, for example, AI director, or using AI systems for monitoring and compliance for corporate governance, or even using AI system combined with other technologies, for example, blockchain, to develop new forms of digital enterprises. And then we talked about DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization, on the course. It's really a space to co-create knowledge, and hopefully that we lawyers we can shape or steer the direction for technology and the development of technologies, and also, but not just the deployment part of it, but also the design, development of this new technology, the emerging technologies.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I believe that most of the cohort, if not everyone in the cohort, is in full-time employment, so everyone can sort of share their work experiences and how it's relevant to their roles, and then share their insights from their industry, from their country. We have students from all over the world. So yeah, that would be really interesting discussions I'm sure you all have. So you've touched on it a little bit in your answers so far, but the online format of this course, how have you found that learning online? Has it been beneficial? Have you enjoyed that aspect of the course? I don't know who wants to start this one off.
Come on, Mark.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think I kind of touched on it before, didn't I? That I think in terms of work-life balance, this was probably the only viable option for me. Being able to study online, and for me, it's not. I've not missed anything, shall I say? I don't know if that's because I'm used to remote working, so I'm used to kind of engaging online remotely, but yes, I think the way it's been packaged and put together has certainly allowed me to get the most out of it. And yeah, it's been definitely allowed me to take a lot of flexibility day to day as I'm absorbing the material, whilst obviously keeping up with my other responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for me as a full-time, working full-time and having a young family. The idea of like going into actual university and studying on premises it's not something that I would even consider at this point. So something online is definitely beneficial to me, and it works with my commitments. And the flexibility that the course itself provides allows me to be able to do that while getting the best out of the course. Like I said earlier, the fact that I can listen to tutorials at my own pace, that I can, yes, there are certain tasks that we're required to complete throughout the course or on a weekly basis, but the fact that you still have a lot of leeway in terms of getting it done, so you can control when you do things. And I think that gives us flexibility, which is ultimately why we're studying online.
Excellent, that's great to hear. And one final question then, bringing it back a little bit to you mentioned your job roles, the work you do, and why you would like to study this course. So have you so far found yourself applying what you've learned in units 1 and 2 to your current roles and your current industries?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to those skill sets that we were talking about, just being able to kind of visually see things differently, and apply your critical thinking skills in a different way based on what we've been learning. But also, it's really interesting that a few days ago I got something that had to do with what we're learning in this semester about defamation, and in terms of defamation and certain emerging technology. And so when you see that interplay and you see it in actual real life, obviously I'm in a different jurisdiction and there are different things to consider, but being able to still apply the same kind of logic to kind of finding the result or finding the answer is really interesting. And so yes, definitely we're seeing it play out in terms of what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think for myself, it's given me a lot of knowledge, actually. Not necessarily that has changed the way that I worked, but it's just given me a greater and a deeper understanding, of the inner workings of corporations. Of course, we're studying data protection and privacy at the moment, and I think what I find really beneficial about that is, of course, working in data protection. Obviously, that's only one aspect of privacy law, so it's nice to look at some of the other areas. Defamation principally, and misuse of private information as a tort, and start to explore the other side of it as well. And I think what's really interesting about this module that we're on at the moment is that we are looking at the kind of side by side effectiveness of the remedies available under those two courses of action. It's kind of compare and contrast. So yeah, it's definitely something that is supporting my current role, but I think definitely also supporting my future aspirations and where I would like to go with my career moving forward.
Excellent. Yeah, great to hear. Go on, Joseph.
Yes, and also what we do on this course is also using technologies as we're using now to create a research community and to bring students from different part of the world, from different professions to our research community, but not just using kind of law methods to do research, but also an interdisciplinary research methods to learning and teaching. And if when possible, we are researchers at the University of Manchester. We teach, but we also do research. So we bring our students student on the course as collaborators for our research projects. So we actively bring students to our research project to engage with us. We also use this platform or this research and teach and learning space to engage with the wider with the stakeholders in the wider community, with the policymakers, with the legal professions around the world, with the judiciaries, and also with the regulators around the world to identify the legal issues and also the research agenda for the for the years to come.
Great stuff. Yeah, so that is all of my questions I had for you guys today. Anyone in the audience would like to ask any questions, we do have the Q&A function that you can use. You can post your questions there. I think we do have one or two that have come through. There's one question here about balancing your time. So as it's a part-time course, balancing it with your work, I think there's questions about how you found the sort of 15 to 20 hours of work per week, assignments, balancing your time with that. How have you found that?
I mean, I'll be honest. It is a challenge. Stepping into studying at a postgraduate environment whilst you're working. I think for me, I've found ways to fit it into my schedule in a way that works for me. I think that's one of the obviously key benefits, of course, of this being an online course. You're not having to worry about commuting and attending in person. Literally, it's just a case of opening up your laptop and obviously plugging in, you get started. So yeah, it is challenging, but I would say that it's manageable on a week by week basis. I think the tasks that are kind of set every week are engaging and you know, not without sophistication, but I wouldn't say that too much is asked of you on a week by week basis with those. And you know, of course, there's lots of wider reading to fit in as well for each topic. Of course, each week, you know, we'd look at a different topic. So yeah, it's yeah, definitely a challenge, but you know, one that is the way it's packaged and presented to us, I think is you know, it's definitely doable, manageable.
Have you found the same, Hilda? I know you mentioned your family commitments as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. For me, I always recommend people follow a schedule, but I've noticed with me that that's impossible with having young kids. So I just go with whatever works for me during a particular week. So I aim to do, let's say, an hour every week, every day of kind of trying to catch up with the reading or anything, but that doesn't always happen. And sometimes it's the weekends. So you just got to do what works for you, but it is manageable. That's the key. And I think the first, maybe the first semester, you might find it challenging finding that rhythm. But then I think now I'm at a point where I feel like I have my rhythm and I know how to kind of adapt to it. And there are lots of readings, yes, but I think you can focus on some of the key readings, and then depending on your time, how much you go into the additional reading is up to you, depending on your time, I think. Yeah. And what interests you as well. So depending on the topic, yeah.
Great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us just about to the end there. I'll just share the screen again. If you do have any further questions about anything we've talked about today, you can email in them to studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. You can also use that to contact me about the course, about the application process. If you have any questions there, feel free to email me, and we can also arrange a consultation. I'll just run a quick poll for our audience, so please feel free to fill this in if you have time. I'll just post that now. And yeah, in the meantime, keep in touch. If you want to get in touch with me, the email address is there. Would like to hear from you. If you have any more interest in the course, I'm here to help with the application process and get you onto the course in September. Remember, there is an early application discount available. The deadline for that is May 19th. So if you want to apply, I'd recommend getting that done as soon as possible before that deadline. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you to all our panelists as well for sharing your insights in your industries and your work roles, and also talking so positively about the course. It's great to hear that you're enjoying it and it's benefiting your careers. So that's great. Thank you all for joining, and we'll wrap up there for today, and we'll keep in touch. Bye for now.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.